All right, what is going on, everybody? Welcome back to another day of SaberSim's DFS office hours. It is Friday, October 13th of 2023. Oh my gosh, Friday the 13th. But for those of you who are not so superstitious, should just be another ordinary day here. But for those of you who are new here, welcome. My name is Andrew. I'm one of the coaches over here at SaberSims, the show where we go over how to use the SaberSim app, answer any and all DFS-related questions. You get your questions in one of three ways here. First off, send us an email, support@sabersim.com. Second off, post it live in the YouTube chat. Third way, post it in the office hours channel in our Discord server. If you're not in our Discord, want to get access to that channel, there is a link in the description of this video. Get access to our similar channels, individual sport channels, get access to other members of the SaberSim team outside of myself here, and we have a lot of sharp members in the community, happy to give their thoughts and give and take feedback with you guys all day long. So great place to be if you are trying to get better as a DFS player. But with that being said, not a ton going on today. We have a 2-game NHL slate. We will have NHL all weekend. Looking to the weekend, there's a ton of stuff going on. We have NFL main slate. We have MLB Showdown returning on Sunday, NASCAR on Sunday, 12-fight MMA card. We have college football tomorrow. We have PGA Showdown all weekend. No better time to try us out if you are not joined up with us. We have a 5-day free trial, which you can find details to in the description of this video. Before we get started, I want to remind you guys ahead of the Sunday main slate, if you're not signed up for our weekly max challenge, get signed up. The link to this page is in the description. Use the green, enter the challenge button. This is a free promotion giveaway we are doing. We are just giving you guys awesome prizes, weekly prizes, season-long prizes. All you need to do, use the SaberSim logo as your avatar on DraftKings, fill out our short form so we can send you guys stuff, and max enter one of the mini max contests on the DraftKings Sunday main slate. That is all you need to do to take advantage of these awesome prizes. And you can still, even if you haven't signed up yet, you can still earn season-long prizes. So take advantage of it while it is here. And with that said, going to get into the SaberSim app here, going to hit the questions that came in Discord, and then we will hit any live questions that come in. So if you have a question, now is a great time to get that in to the chat as always. So first question here says, this NFL season, I feel like my list of exposures read like a list of the slate's highest owned players. I'm getting far fewer lower owned guys that I'm overweight on using SaberSim default projections, usually a few uniques, and starting by risk adjusted ROI. I make some manual adjustments, but most of them are to get the chalky players down and some of my favorite lower owned plays up in exposures. Any tips for building more contrarian GPP lineups? I think this is a really good question. I think that you're doing just fine. And, you know, in our weekly reviews, if you guys haven't seen them, they're up on the YouTube channel. So if you go to our YouTube channel, you go to playlists, you go to you go to Coach's Corner here. We have our weekly main slate reviews. So we've done week 1, 2, 3, 4, 5. This is with Max Steinberg and myself. Most of you guys know that Max is a high stakes pro, been playing DFS for about a decade here, has a milli win under his belt here. So just very well respected in the DFS community, very sharp. Really enjoy those shows with him. And in our latest review here, you know, for like the largest field contests, chalk is still being played at like a fair rate. And what chalk is, you know, up for debate. But I would say that higher owned players are still in the best sim ROI lineups. It looks like, you know, from what I've seen here is that the highest sim ROI lineups have plenty of pieces that are highly owned and maybe 2 or 3 places where they are pivoting or getting different. And what I've seen is like players like under 10% owned. Most of these lineups, you know, 2 to 3 spots where they're getting different, right? And then in the smaller field stuff, there's maybe only 1 or 2 pieces in their lineup where they're getting different. And all of those lineups have 9 players in it. So if you look at the larger field, you know, 6 to 7 players with quite a bit of ownership, even those lineups are grading out really well in the Sims here. And so what that's been telling me here lately is like, hey, you don't have to get so different. You do not have to get so contrarian from the field and play a lineup that is like completely off the wall. You just need to get different enough. And I think that's a big thing that contest sims can teach you is like, hey, I don't need to get to the true optimal. I do not need to get to the highest scoring lineup possible. I just need to play lineups that beat the other lineups in my contest. And those lineups can have players with decent ownership in them. So it sounds like you're doing a lot of the right things. It sounds like, you are using contest sims, you're making adjustments for diversification, you're using risk-adjusted ROI, you're making small tweaks to min-max exposures depending on what you're seeing in your research. All of that sounds really good. I was talking to somebody within the last couple of days here in support around just like NFL results here. So if you look at the NFL season, there's 18 regular season main slates now, right? There used to be less. There's 18 regular season main slates. And if you equate that to a sport like MLB, like NBA, where there are, say, 30 main slates a month and 6 months of main slates, well, that's 180 main slates in an MLB or an NBA season, and there is 1/10 of that in an NFL season. So it just goes to show that NFL can be super high variance, and, it's okay if you haven't had a good week yet. That doesn't mean you're doing something wrong. I think, one of my favorite stories from last season, we had somebody who ultimately ended up winning like a 4-game playoff slate, and they binked. And then what they posted in Discord, they said, I lost every single week of the NFL main slate, like regular season, and this win paid for all my losses and made me profitable on the year. Like, not to say that they had done anything wrong, just like the variance hadn't fallen their way, but, continuing to exercise bankroll management, following the DFS profit plan, getting a good mix of single entries, 3 maxes, 20 max 150s, getting a large spread of lineups each and every week is only going to help you smooth out those swings while you continue to work and hope for variance to fall your way and you have that bink, right? So it doesn't sound like you're doing anything super wrong here. I would just stick with what you've been doing, and, you can always be looking at like your top 1% equity and seeing, how you're faring on average. Are you putting more than your fair share of lineups into the top 1%, and kind of go from there? But don't get too hard on yourself only about 5 weeks into the season here. But good question there. And next question from Motown. This is a good question. Question says, is SaberScore like standard deviation? So SaberScore is our own in-house lineup grading metric. If you go to a traditional optimizer, they are going to be grading lineups based on projected points here. So what a traditional optimizer is doing, it is trying to build lineups that pack in as many projected points as possible. And then if you add in rules, it's abiding by those rules and still trying to put as many projected points into your lineup as possible here. We are not doing that. That is not our goal. Our goal is to build you lineups with high upside, because GPPs, which are all the tournaments that you play on DraftKings, FanDuel, etc., are very top heavy. And most of the money is going to be in the first, 1 through 3 positions. So having those very high outcomes in your standings is very important to maintaining a bankroll. And we understand that, right? So what we do is we created SaberScore, which is our internal grading metric. And if you click into it, you can see any one of the formulas here and what comprises the formula. So there is a small weight on average projection of the lineup, but there is a bigger weight on the 95th percentile of the lineup, which is the lineup's upside. And then there is a negative weight on average adjusted ownership. So we're saying, hey, we want to have a decent floor for these lineups, but we care more about the upside. And we also want to basically like tax lineups that have very high ownership. So this is how we account for ownership. This is how we account for lineup upside. And this is how we count for like the base value, probably something closer to like the cash rate of the lineups, right? So we are taking these values, we are changing the weights based on the contest that you're playing, right? Based on the number of entries in the contest, we're going to change the weights. We're going to have the bigger the contest, the more weight on upside. The smaller the contest, the less weight on upside, but still some weight on upside. So we're using these 3 variables at different intervals, depending on the contest that you're playing, but that is what SaberScore is. And we think it is a better lineup grading metric than projected score. But really good question. Happy to talk about that one. Next question in the office hours channel is there a way to write a hockey rule to require that when skaters are stacked from the same team, they must either share an even strength or a power play line? If so, what are the pros/cons of such a rule? I imagine there isn't much correlation between skaters that don't skate together on any lines, but I don't know hockey. Okay, so let's jump over to NHL here. NHL for Friday. 2-game slate here. So when you go into your stacking rules or your lineup rules, you can go to stacks, and then what you can do is check this box here. So I say stack at least 3, and then you're going to pick your skaters, but you say must be on the same, and you can pick even strength line, power play line, even strength or power play line, or even strength and power play line. So we have 4 different options for you to choose from here. You know, you had it right that skaters that are on the same line are going to be more correlated to each other. Not to say that they're not correlated to other members of their team, but they're just going to be more correlated. So having this part of the rule on just maximizes the correlation. So when I'm building NHL lineups, when I play, which is like usually only during NBA All-Star break, I like to write my rules with this on, and I usually use even strength or power play just to give the option there, to give the builder a little more flexibility. But I think that, turning that on makes a lot of sense, and it's something that I do, and I directly got that idea from talking with Scott, who is much more knowledgeable about NHL strategy in general here, but I do like that. All right, another question here says, are you planning to do any contest flashback walkthroughs for hockey like is being done weekly for NFL? Frankly, I haven't heard about this, but I can bring it up internally here. So as like a content request here. So contest flashback NHL. NFL is like kind of nice because there's like one main slate a week here. With hockey, there's like a main slate every night. So I think that, it's a little harder to do here. I don't know, but I'm happy to bring it up internally and let the team know that people are asking for this, but glad to hear you guys are liking our NFL contest flashback reviews here. So those are all the questions in the Discord. Jumping over to the YouTube chat. First question here from Demetrius. Can you show us your process for a 2-game college football slate and for a main slate on Saturday? So if you're looking for, ideas about college football, I'm probably the wrong guy to talk to here. What I would do is I would go over to our YouTube channel and go to playlists and go to How to Beat College Football DFS. If you view this playlist, one, you can watch an interview with Jordan interviewing Eric here, who is our data scientist, who's our resident college football expert here and built the college football model. And then you can see how Jordan builds his lineups for a college football slate here. So I would check out these 2 videos. If you haven't, I really do not play college football and do not want to lead you guys astray. So the processes that you see in these videos are going to be much better than what I have to offer you guys. All right. We are all caught up with questions at the moment here. Like I said before, I just want to remind you guys, if you guys aren't signed up with SaberSim, we do have a 5-day free trial. I always recommend starting on a Friday. That way you get access to all of the weekend sports here. We talked about them earlier: NFL, MLB, PGA, NHL, college football, NASCAR, MMA. We have simulations and support with contest sims for all of these different sport types. So get in the app, check them out. But until Monday, guys, good luck in all of your contests. I look forward to talking to you guys then. Next show, 2 p.m. Eastern on a Monday. So until then, good luck. Take care in your contests. I will see you all. Thanks. Bye.